Welcome to the Strong Casuals podcast. My name is Ben. I'm here with Anthony and the Cord King himself, Eric.
What's up?
How's it going, gentlemen?
Oh, not too bad, Ben. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Not too bad. It's raining, or it has been raining again.
Yeah, it's pretty much been nonstop.
Yep, we live in the Midwest, and apparently this is the summer of rain.
And earwigs.
And earwigs, yes. Lots of those.
It's quite an infestation almost. Kind of insane.
Yeah, lots of ears. We are coming to you after East vs. West 13. Our plan is to talk a bit about that, and then we're going to preface or look at the Strongman Classic events and athletes, maybe make a couple predictions, see what's on the docket for that.
We'll see if we get there. I got some opinions. I got some strong opinions on the CVW.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Let's.
Yeah, I'm not playing around.
So last Saturday, July 6th, if I'm not mistaken, was East vs. West 13. Engen was in attendance.
He was, somehow.
In a neck brace.
Somehow he was there.
He after successfully surviving an infection.
Yes.
And then he fell.
Yeah, I don't know how he fell necessarily, but
he was there.
Yep.
In neck brace glory.
He's going to be there hell or high water. It doesn't matter. It's Engen's show.
He lives for it.
He loves
literally
everything about it, and we're here for it. I'm here for it.
I'm into it.
I mean, as long as the guy is putting on shows like he's putting on, I mean, pray the guy doesn't, fall. You don't need to fall anymore. I'll tell you that.
Right, yeah.
No more falling.
Whatever he did fall on and the bacteria that it was attacking him are both now labeled enemies of the sport.
They are. Canalization, kidney infection.
Right. I don't think it was his kidneys, but that's okay.
It's okay.
So
it's a blood infection. It's even worse.
Well, yeah. It was I think it was a topical infection due to his appendix burst. Whatever. Okay. So
I'm a doctor. I know what I'm talking about.
Yes, but I did say the Holiday Inn Express last night. Okay. I thought the production quality was great.
I thought once again a very last event was they're getting better and better with. The production quality has been solid, but it's just like, once again, just if you can avoid the skipping, and once again, that kind of stuff is out of your control. It's wherever you're that server is coming, wherever you're streaming and casting from, it's not on them. This time there was no skipping whatsoever.
I know.
It was pretty fantastic.
I watched it in a pontoon boat.
Yeah.
At a lake.
Yeah. There's no cell towers out there, really.
No, but it was great.
No, I loved it. Great show. Lots of matches, but they also did it in a timely manner, which... Yeah. When I looked at it at the start of the day, I was like, holy heck. Now, as you'll see as we go through the show, a lot of these matches were 3-0s, 4-0s. Yeah. So that's another reason it got done so early.
Right.
And
they're not pulling extra nonsense.
No, there wasn't.
Nice.
Nobody was pulling punches. Nobody was super great. I mean, Travis Bajan was on the table, and there wasn't very much fussing with any of the refs.
That match.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that either.
So let's start it out with...
So the first match was Artem Taranenko versus Tom Rositz.
So yeah, Tom Rositz, new to me. Artem, I think I've seen at another match.
There's lots of Artems.
Yeah, there's so many.
The 85 kg super match. I thought it was a nice match to watch.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything. Tom Rositz. Oh, you just said that 1-3-0, but
yeah, 3-0.
It was fun to watch. Really, I think it was just a nice hors d'oeuvre. For the Carolina Peterson.
You want people to stick around for your show? Just put on a quick show like that. 3-0, little nice domination, and it was a fantastic match. If you want to really keep people around, you show them these women in this next match.
Yeah. Carolina Pedersen, and Olga Turpalova. Fantastic match.
I mean, insane match. Absolutely insane match. Carolina Pedersen, she brought more attitude and ferocity to the table than almost any person.
She is Viking, man.
Yeah.
She's this is, if you can't tell, I'm Scandinavian. So this is a good...
we can tell about...
Yeah. Okay.
Last pod we could.
Yeah. So, no, she did great. And as Neil Pickup said, Sweden / Scandinavia has a pretty solid strength background, especially in arm wrestling. And so she did well. She said something in the interview. There was something like, my teammates told me that if I lost this, I was just going to be dead to them.
Is she Polish?
No, she's Swedish.
She's Swedish?
Yeah.
Who's the Polish lady on this match? Petrova?
I don't know.
Basically, there was a during the match, like Devin was talking about the Polish women's team. He's like, if I could be reincarnated into a girl, I would want to be a Polish girl because the Poland pulling team is.
Dude, I just want to be Barbara.
Yeah. I don't know where Barbara hails from. I think it's like South America or something like that. She looks South American.
No, dude.
she's South American.
No. All right. So
Bachiova.
That match was good. It was nice to watch. So Carolina Pedersen came up on top.
She was screaming the whole match. It ruled.
Yeah, I mean, but she brought a lot of good energy, great energy, stuff that we like, wall energy that we like to experience, and did well. 3-0, but it was still a nice match to watch. That was
Very
a 60
good match.
kg super match. I don't think I've been 60 kg since 8th grade. But hey, Swedish power. Next match, Zurab Tavbarits versus Petro Maranhit.
Same.
So Petro won 3-0. I thought it was an okay match to watch.
Yeah, no,
it was
once again, another...
It's just a best of 5. Two dudes that, I don't know, relatively well matched, though it was still a 3-0.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about this next match, though. So Adam Warzinski from the U.S. and Vladimir Mayorov. It was an 85 kg super match. This is a perfect example of where like size doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to the world of arm wrestling, which I think is something that not everybody understands. Because Adam on paper is a bigger guy. He looks. I mean, he's bigger physically, not just like taller and biceps and forearms, but like he's a bigger dude. And Vladimir just came out and put him to the table. He Vladed him to the table.
I know. I always love these matches because it's like two people haven't really seen pull, and then they're just like, oh well, we're here. Any small guy who just smashes the bigger dudes is always a fun time. I've never seen Mayorov before, but he was there to prove who the heck he was.
I've definitely heard the name before, and I think Adam's. I think Adam's relatively young. I don't know how old he is, but he looked young.
I've heard Adam's name. That's what I'd heard of.
Well, I mean, it was a good match to watch. Good example also where like Adam was like in a couple of the rounds was like, I got beat. And you can almost see after like the matches after they get pinned and they're like, yep, that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like after they get pinned.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's so like kind to each other after the match. There's no bad blood typically at all. Yeah. And it's always good to see. Especially from these Easterners, you're not going to get it from. Yeah. Ever.
Chance Shaw versus Ibrahim Sagov. That was a good match. We talked about this one with Eric Rousain last podcast of the interview. We said we love Chance, but he was like, yeah, no, he's going to lose. And that's okay. It was a good match to watch. Sagov is a bit of an animal.
And if you saw, like, one thing that Sagov was doing, he was like grabbing down on Chance's wrist, like really low. His grip was like, it was like here. It was very strange. He was kind of just dad moving him the whole time for 3 rounds straight. Chance did everything he could, but Sagov's he's on a different level.
I think Chance he's got a future though.
Of course. I mean,
he's young.
Chance
and
he's a professional, and he's still super young.
And I think he's got a lot of room to grow.
Yes.
And I think he's dedicated to it.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a lot to do with the Challenger Series and stuff coming into the U.S. So I think we need people like that.
A match against Sagov that's an insane. I mean, everybody knows who Ibrahim Sagov is, and if you don't know who Chance Shaw is, I mean, you do now. And Chance has a long career left, for sure. Long career.
Yeah, and hopefully he can be one of those, people bringing it to to North America.
Yeah, if he keeps putting on Challenger Series performance, like, events like that, dude, we're going to see a lot of Chance Shaw. Yeah. It absolutely needs to happen.
I know you have things to say about this next match.
Oh, yes.
Takanaka versus Dimitrina Petrova.
Yeah, Ayane Takanaka. I believe she's, like, the first Japanese... puller at East vs. West.
I don't doubt that at all.
I'm pretty positive.
She was an animal.
She was an animal, and she won the first. I believe she won first round pretty handedly. Pretty like everybody was like, everybody thought Dimitrina was going to run over her, and we were like, oh my god. I mean, she was super ferocious on the table. Gave us like violent Carolina Pedersen vibes. She was just smashing the table after every time she pinned her. For 2 straight rounds, she did that, and then after like that. Takanaka was trying to do the same thing, but she was losing some momentum. And Petrova would pull her elbow, like, move her elbow foul off the table when she was about to get pinned, basically.
Yeah.
And she did that for like 2 straight rounds, and then the match kind of turned over into Petrova's favor. And she just won the next, I think she won the next 4 straight. But it was the same kind of thing. Elbow pull if Takanaka was winning in one of the pull, on one of the round, and then just pull up from it and keep doing it until she eventually won 4-2. I don't know. I think it was personally a robbery. I don't think it's right at all. But nobody gives, the referees any flack, especially if you can't like speak the language that the referee's speaking. Nobody's going to give anything back to him at all.
Well, and something that we talked about with Eric Rusain last episode 2, which if you haven't listened to that, you should go back and listen to that interview. He brought up something that I hadn't thought about, because we spent, episodes before that, we spent long time just railing on the refs about how terrible they are. But he I don't know, he presented it in a different light, which was, these guys have an impossible task.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, it's nothing like this, but what I think about is when you're supposed to, like, when you ref little kids, you can't call everything because they're just going to hate the thing. And so these refs are like, well, this is a public event. It's essentially like, we're trying. It's a spectacle. It's not a sideshow, but it's a step up from a sideshow.
I know.
And so it's like, you want people to watch it and you want it to be interesting.
Yeah.
And when X percentage of matches at a WAF event end in penalties. No one wants to watch that.
I know.
So it's you can't call everything, but at the same time,
it's not an easy job, but it's also and Eric's like, he's like, and I have no interest in doing it, and and then you're like, well, damn, Eric, we need people like you to do it. We need these former, we need the former pullers to do it, because they're going to enforce everything just straight to them, and it's
right.
There's no referees, in the sport that I know of now. And from the way Eric talked about it, North American wise, events, he said he's never had any problems with refs, which is, interesting. It's like
Well, I think when you get into WAF or the bigger federations.
He was saying it was kind of a no nonsense thing.
I think, they just don't.
But that's what we need in Engen's organization, is just a no nonsense concept for refereeing. Like, you have to, I think it needs to be more black and white than it is now. There's the gray area is like 80% of the foul, it feels like.
Yeah. Well, I think, but you have to kind of ride the line between...
Ride the lightning
between, sticking to the actual rules and making it some super bore fest of, nothing but penalties. Right. I don't know. I think it's difficult. I'm hoping that we can, smooth it out a little bit more.
I thought it was...
get to a point where it's reffed well, and we don't leave with things like this, where we, arguably people are robbed of rounds. And there's no,
I guess it's like, you shouldn't be able to pull your elbow off the pad just to stop, the actual pulling from happening. But it's almost the same thing when you're out of the
for it,
right. And it's almost kind of the same thing, like when you're not in the strap. If your strat, you're going to lose on a flash, right off the whistle. It's like you're trying to slip out. So it's like, that's a strategy technically for them, just to slip out.
Yeah, but I think a slip is going to have a slip is a bit different than intentionally committing a penalty.
But some people, I think in some matches, you could say people are intentionally trying to slip.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think in this case, it's like the elbow is her, concept of it. I'm going to pull from the match. I'm going to stop her from beating me right now because I'm close to the pad, because I can lift my elbow off of the pad.
Well, yeah, but a slip is going to happen in the first. Usually, it's going to happen in the first. Well,
that's why
within a couple.
That's
seconds.
why we give it so much more leeway, because it makes sense. It's the small point that you can actually do it, because right after that you're going into the strap anyway. Yeah,
but I'm saying it's going to happen early in the match, whereas an elbow foul, an intentional elbow foul, is happening into the match where. If I'm wrestling someone who I know I have more stamina than them, they might come off they might be faster than me, they might have whatever, but I know I can outlast them.
Right.
Well, then I'll just let them hang out.
Yeah.
And then I'll foul them out before they pin me, and then if I do that a couple times,
well, that's kind of what it seemed like. Is Petrova didn't have the stamina, or she wasn't ready for whenever Takanaka threw it on her, and she's like, okay, well, quick pull out. Yeah. And now, eventually, obviously, she did have some sort of stamina because she won the last rounds, but it's just annoying. And I'm only making it a thing because It's like the only problem we had on East vs. West, like refereeing wise, which is like it's great.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Well,
but
all in all,
you still can't rob people. You can't, especially our Japanese athlete for the first event. You're like, is this really happening?
Yeah,
it's kind of annoying. But on to the next.
It was fun to watch.
It was a great match, an absolutely incredible match.
Artem Tanov versus Betkili Oniani.
What do you have to say about this match? I have to say like one thing.
It went 4-1. I mean, Oniani or Aniani, I forgot to pronounce.
I like Oniani.
Won, but it wasn't a 3-0 or a 4-0 match. I mean, and Artem won a round, and I thought it was fun to watch. It moved me closer to the edge of my seat.
Right. Artem, I remember from an event or two ago, and he so he lost to Sasho last year, and then I think he beat Zurab. But I was like blown away. He like smashed Zurab, and I was like, okay, well, and I didn't know Betkili going into the match, so I was like, oh, all right, here we go, smash off by Tainov, and that's just not what happened. Betkili showed up, and he smashed though. It was 4-1. It started out like a great match, but Betkili, he was dominant in the match.
I might have moved the edge of my seat, but I moved back.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but it's nice to see. Artem's been in it. I mean, he's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. What is middle? Yeah, this was the middleweight world title. So what is that? Is that the 85 kilo? I think, because I think that's 85 kilo. But yeah, he just anytime you see somebody come up, Betkili came out and he has the arm sleeve warmer on.
Yeah, right.
And then he pulls it off.
If it's knitted, you're done.
Dude, it's curtains.
If it's knitted, you should just run away.
That's what happened.
Yeah, Devin did some content where he went to Japan and did some like wrist wrestling stuff, and he had his knitted arm warmer with him.
Yes,
they should have just called her a day.
I love it because if you he'll pull that out. Some of his older videos where he's just like street wrestling in Canada. You're like, it's cold and I'm wrestling. I'm like marble. Like, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
It sounds terrible.
I know it. Yeah.
Sounds awful.
Nope. Don't want any part of that.
I'd have like bone bursitis and like everything. Elbow shards nonstop.
That just sounds like terrible pain for all of your life.
Yeah. Well, look at his arms. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Barbora, I apologize. She's from Slovakia. Okay. So it's not South America. Okay.
Yeah. Nowhere close, actually.
Okay. Barbora as a
different.
last name would be South American. But I'm an idiot. Okay. What do you want me to do? I'm a strong casual.
Bachova?
I'm not her.
Bachova?
I'm not her father. You know, the thing is.
Are you? I'm kidding.
She's like 22.
I know.
Could be almost
She's
her father.
She's a beast, man. So let's talk about this match. So for those of you that, I don't know if you've made it this far into this podcast or into this episode, and you know anything, hopefully know who Levan is.
Yeah.
And Levan has sort of become this figurehead of arm wrestling that is come and beat me. We don't have anybody at his level right now.
He is Zeus right now.
And there's all this sort of I feel like this is going to be this generation of like a lot of times sports are broken down into eras. I feel like this is like the era of bringing Levan down. And that's a good thing. We love Levan.
Agreed.
But he's just on a different level.
When you see somebody who's so dominant like that, you're like, I don't care who beats him.
Right.
Somebody should beat him because it'll change the world.
Right.
Like, that's how insane he is. It's like, arguably, well, not arguably, when Devin pulled him right arm last match, Devin is number 2 in the world at right arm. Very obviously. Very obviously. And that match was so goddamn one-sided. You couldn't make
I know.
You could not make a match more one-sided. And that was 1 versus 2.
Right. No, I know.
It was like, Jesus,
There's this huge gap. And so he's at his own level. Barbara is Levan.
Is
the Levan. And she's doing it under 30. She's 20 some years old.
Yeah.
And she is she's doing things.
Yeah.
I don't know, like Egla, which Eric Rusain last episode said don't sleep on her because she has a career.
Says he has multiple world titles in left and right arm.
Yeah, and in
WAF.
fact, if you go to Arm Wrestling Archives and you look up Egla's career,
it's sheets.
She
has lots of events. Lots of events.
And she carries herself that way. I love the entire match. She might have probably figured out early on that she's probably not coming out on top.
I know.
She didn't. I mean, she
was trying.
She put everything into everything.
Yeah.
She not paid her dues, but I mean, she paid attention to every setup.
Yeah.
She paid attention to every.
You could see her. I mean, every
every
single round, she would lose, and she would try a different strategy. You could see it in her face. She's the more, she's as tenured of an arm wrestler as you can get. So it's like you just see her. Okay, well, this didn't work. God, the strength on this woman is truly otherworldly. She's like, what am I supposed to do? Okay, so she tries another bag, something in her bag of tricks, and it doesn't work. And it doesn't work for 4 straight rounds. And on the last round, I mean, and that's what Eric said last week. He's like, don't sleep on Egla. Everybody's saying Barbora is an absolute animal, and she's the champion. I don't know. Was the championship vacated? No, she was the champion. Yes. Barbora was the champion because she was holding the belt at a couple of Yeah. So he says, everybody was hot on Barbora because Barbora beat Gabriella. But then I go back and I look at the East vs. West archives, and Egla lost to Gabriella. I mean, you don't want to ever do arm wrestling math or MMA math or any of the math of sport, but it's like, so Barbora beat Gabriella, Egla lost to Gabriella. Theoretically, Barbora should beat Egla, and I mean, it was pretty one-sided. Egla was there for the same thing. It's like, say you consider Egla 2. It's just, it was so one-sided for a 1v2 match. And then after the match, this is when we first see Engen.
Yeah.
Engen comes up to the stage in a salmon wife beater and a neck brace, the biggest neck brace I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've ever seen. It was insane.
Substantial. Yeah.
And he's like, he's just like talking, call out. They wanted Barbora to call out somebody. It's like, it's also as number 1 in the world. You're like, who am I calling out?
Right.
And Engen said that she should call out, I apologize, I forget her name. But basically it was a champion from.
Yeah.
She's like a retired.
She more or less agreed to it too.
She's like, I guess. But so this girl's retired. She's like a former multiple-time world champion. This woman is. I looked up the woman. The woman is drastic, like half of the human that Barbora is size-wise. Yeah. And this woman is like in realty and has a family now. She's not doing any arm wrestling at all.
Well, I mean, that's
she's basically like, Engen's just like, make the call out, get her out of retirement, come her back.
But we've seen what happened. I mean, we saw Dennis come out of retirement. It's nice to have him there, but
I don't.
And we'll get to Travis, but I mean, it's.
I don't want people to like. If you're just covered in shields and medals, I don't want you to come out of retirement 6 years later just so you can get smished.
Yeah, that kind of happened.
It does happen, and I don't like seeing it happen.
I mean, I agree.
But it does happen. So Barbora's on top of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to see it. I'd like to see another Egla Gabriella match.
Or that too.
I just don't. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm hoping someone will come out of the woodwork to give Barbara a chance. The one comment, which maybe this is a unpopular opinion, I don't know, and maybe I'm being too, I don't know, internet critiquey.
Yeah.
But I think she was borderline disrespectful at some of that. Because she was, when she knew she had it, you still have to come to the table.
Yeah.
Like, you still have to look. I mean, she was like smiling and like making comments to her corner. Like, okay, you still have to like go, because Egla's taking this seriously and everybody else is taking this seriously here. Like, you need to, and like, put some effort into the setup. Don't just like be like, I don't know, do whatever you want. I don't care. Like, I mean, Devin's been in plenty of matches when he still comes to the table. Like, I mean, he's Devin is Devin. Yeah. But I mean, like, when this is a while ago now, but when he pulled Michael Todd. I mean, he knew he had that in the bag, but he still came to the table, messed with the setup. He gave it everything that he was. I feel like Barbara was just borderline not giving it enough, wasn't being serious enough.
I understand. I guess to play devil's advocate, it's also like, okay, I don't know personally what I would rather have seen. So like Barbara, basically in that sense, she's like, it's almost it's a tiny show. She's like, I'm gripping up with her, but that's all I literally need to do. Yeah. Like this is how good I am. This is all I need to do. Do I want to see her on that 4th round grip up Egla and then just put her through the table? I don't know. I don't know if I do.
Well, but I mean, like, you can like, it happens all the time. Like
Right.
when you still let him pull.
Of
this
course.
is great time for Egla to get some table time with someone. I mean, I can't imagine she's up against too many people who she's like actually challenged.
And I think it's just the character of Barbora. You know, maybe she's not she seems very shy, and which is amazing because I love people like that who are just like shy, but they're just like hiding behind this incredible ability. Just like I come to the event, I put on a show for me. I show everybody who I am, what I'm here to do. I don't have to call out anybody. I don't have to smash her through the table. I don't have to Levon scream in their face. Which would people love to see that? Of course. But if it's not who the person, we've talked about this before. The whole, should you put on a character for the TV?
Yeah.
Suuld you put on a character for the stream? I don't know. I think it helps, but I think if you, I don't know, Barbora is like she's such a presence on the table. I mean, she's just, Gabriella's another big girl who's very much a huge presence on the table, and Egla.
Yeah, we watched
last time I
that
watched
match.
last time I watched Egla, I mean, she was massive compared to whoever she was facing. I think she's faced Sarah Bachman at one of the last. That's where I think saw.
Might have been, yeah.
Yeah,
we watched that.
I think we watched that together. Yeah, she faced Sarah Bachman, and at the time I'd been following Sarah Bachman for a little bit, and she's one of the best North American pullers.
Yeah.
But I mean, Egla she did what Barbora did to her. Like she just acted like Sarah wasn't even there.
Yeah.
I like the way Barbora carries herself. If she comes out of her shell more, that's going to be great. That's only going to be better for her and for her person, for her celebrity. That is, I think.
I'm just saying, do it with it with some modesty.
I get it.
I
do get it.
I mean, like, there's a difference. Like, I mean, Devin's a character. Travis is a character. I mean, but like they're I don't know. Yeah,
Barbora
I mean, I'm
doesn't
not
have
saying
I think
she
that's the
doesn't
thing.
like deserve to be burned or by the
Right,
cross
I don't-
or the stake
yeah.
or anything. I'm just
I
saying
think she
that
was just
she
like-
was right there
I
with
know.
almost being a little.
Ben wanted her to smash her through the table and then elbow drop her at the very end of it, and then say, "I want Denis Shaplenkov now."
I'd watch it.
That's what I'm saying. It was funny
watch
when they
it.
were asking, like, Barbo, who do you want to call it? She's like, I don't want anybody to call it because Levon's presenting the belt. And Levon's like,
Yeah,
he's like pointing to, call out to me. I'm like, all right.
I'd watch that.
I would watch that
Definitely
every
would.
day.
all right. Daniel Prokopchik
That was pretty
versus
good.
Bazadar Semyonov, lightweight world title. Daniel won it 4-0.
Smashed.
Yeah, it was again fun to watch, but
Yeah, I don't really know where Prokopchuk is, but they were talking about him like highly. Like I think he's Georgian or something like that. I think he
He's
is with the Georgian team or something like that.
yeah, I mean, I
And,
think he is, but he's a solid athlete. I think he's doing, yeah.
If you're training with the Georgians, you're in the right place. Okay,
Absolutely.
you're in the right place.
Todd Hutchings, man, I love Todd Hutchings.
He was there.
The
Todzilla.
man sweats his body weight in like 30 seconds, but he went up
just
against
in the setup.
Krasimir Kostaninov.
Before
Kostadinov? I don't know.
Kostadinov.
105 kg super match. The 105 kg division is just stacked.
There's so many athletes. Like it's like hard to
And
like.
it is hard to
Hell yeah.
like it's yeah. I mean, it's great to watch. It's just I would honestly like never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I would watch 105 kg matches almost anything all
Okay,
the time because
yeah.
the it's just a
The depth of field.
it's insane.
Is so deep. I didn't know Krasimir, but once your name's Krasimir, I'll watch.
no, absolutely. But I thought Todd came in kind of laid it down and left.
Yeah, he
He's
did.
And this doesn't relate to anything like technical by any means, but I love watching Todd win because it's so sincere. And I
Yes.
feel like he and his wife is always there with him.
I was gonna say his wife's
and,
always in the corner.
Like, and it's so I don't know, it just warms my heart to watch him win.
We love Todd. He's sweating bullets before ref
I know.
grip. Before first referee's grip.
Yeah, I
mean
know.
this guy.
I think he just wakes up and he's just like his pajamas are a robe and a towel,
Dude.
But I mean, and he's a solid dude. I don't know. I am going to. There are a few athletes that when they've retired, I've legitimately I've been sad. Like when Brian Shaw announced that he was retiring, I was sad. When Big Z left, made me sad. No, I mean he's still in with the Masters and stuff, but I mean like,
But we're in arm wrestling.
yeah, they can always come back 20 years later.
They're never going to retire.
Because I know.
Devin talks like he's like, I don't know if you listened to the last Brian Shaw podcast with Devin, but I never, maybe that's because I had not listened to a lot of things that Devin had done. Devin's not on very many podcasts, but he was talking about his grandma got him into arm wrestling. Devin's grandma would like he'd go over to his grandma's house and he'd arm wrestle with his grandma because his grandma used to be like a former champion, I guess. And in the family,
runs in his blood. Man.
I was just like blown away. I was like, I have never heard this story. It's kind of
awesome.
wild, and it was as good of an origin story as you could ever want for Devin. I mean, his grandmother being it's the best.
Well, when we make the biopic, you know,
yeah, when I play Devin, we can
yeah, you'll be top on the list there, bud.
yeah.
No, it's fun to watch. Todd.
No, yeah, we love Todd.
Another 105 catch again.
This match,
Evgeny Prudnik and Irakli. Evgeny Prudnik. And Irakli.
So
Zirakashvili. I love watching Irakli and do anything. And
he's a technician of all technicians.
He went in and destroyed.
So before I found out that Prudnik is in like if you watch some of the conference and some of like the clips beforehand, Evgeny is an opera singer.
Yeah, I know.
Do you see this? I mean, this guy crushed. He was, I mean,
and he in the press conference when he stands up next. I can't think of who was sitting. I think Hutchings might have been sitting next to him or somebody. He was just kind of like, I'm not with who is this guy?
Yeah,
and he stood up in the press conference and just gave her. And they ended coming back and singing.
He sang after he lost.
I know. He didn't
holding Irakli.
Well, it was funny because I think initially. Irakli was like, you should sing.
Yeah.
And then he was like, no, man, I just got like pasted.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave. But
yeah.
But I think like stuff like that, like that video of the press conference of him singing, I bet that video in the the big world of social media probably does better than even the match video. So
I know, that's the weird thing. Because he's still performing in like that's in his like normal life. He's still like doing opera, which is awesome.
I think it was fun to watch. I
thought it was a great match. Honestly, going in, I thought Prudnik was going to win, and I'm a Zirakashvili fan. I thought.
Oh, I didn't.
I thought once I feel like I don't know why I compare Prudnik and Petrenko for some reason. I think they just look same, and I'm just a fucking idiot. So I'm just like, oh yeah.
They look
but I love Irakli, and I vote for Irakli in like every other match, and I'm glad Irakli showed up. And like I said, he's so technical on the table, and it was a longer match. It wasn't like Evgeny didn't show up.
It was fun to watch.
It was a good match.
I think I had kind of the opposite thing where I was relatively confident Irakli was going to win.
Yeah.
And then I was I was surprised that there was Prudnik did all his opera singing. I mean, it's still fun. It's part of his
the
like,
absolute
it's
balls to like just go out there and just like, geez, the guy has got confidence at the very least.
Yeah. And if we need to segue, I think the next match is full of that too. Travis and Sergey. I mean, Sergey is a performer himself.
Yeah. So I didn't at the entire buildup. I thought this was a left-handed match. And I didn't.
I know, because you said that last week,
too.
I
said it was a left-handed match. Well, I was talking about Travis as a left-hander. I didn't say he was going to wrestle, but my assumption was that he was going to wrestle left-handed. I didn't know he was going to be right-handed.
Right.
And the last East vs. West that I saw Sergey in, I was like, oh, I mean, this guy's serious. And I told you, he's the guy who looks like a stone-cold assassin with his tiny baby glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just anybody who wears glasses that just cover the iris is psychotic.
Yeah, I know. He looks like a video game villain.
Yeah, dude. It's just the mustache. I mean, the bald head. I mean, he's the Russian like Iceman. But no, he was so fun in the build-up at the conference. They put out a bunch of little videos where Devin was sitting down with a bunch of people.
Yep.
And I loved it. And I was, but going in, Travis is still being Travis. He's not being an asshole by any means at all. I thought he's just Travis. He brings his loud persona and his ego, and his confidence is through the absolute roof.
Yeah.
And once again, I thought it was a left-handed match. I thought Travis was going to win. And so we got to that table, And I literally find out there while they're introing him, it's okay, so it's a right-handed match.
Yeah.
And Travis the whole time had also been talking about, his arm being at like 60%.
Yeah. I mean, I think this was it was a good match. It was just nice to see Travis pull again.
Agreed.
Like, it's just nice to see him at a table.
We saw, did he pull Derek at left-handed at the Challenger Series?
I
Was
thought
that
so.
Right? Was that a...
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because that would make sense as to why... I mean, he did... It's still Travis. I mean, he smashed Derek Smith.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that he's at a... I think this is an important opportunity for... Not opportunity, but I think it's an important time for him to get back in it.
100%.
Because I feel like we waited to, like, as long as, like, Dennis did. I just don't know if he would come back.
No.
And
you
so...
can't wear Crocs 100% of the time and come back to East vs. West.
Well, hey, whatever, man. Crocs are king, dude.
I love Dennis, but he's going to slip and fall on those rocks he's standing on with his Crocs. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well,
it makes no sense how he's even standing.
He's not going to, like, be able to catch himself because his arm's, like, 90 degrees. But it was just nice to see Travis pull. And I think those two guys, I think they went into it knowing that they were just going to put on a show, and it was fantastic.
And they did.
And
they really did.
It was good arm wrestling, too.
Yes. And when they were doing the little interview and Sergey started talking, Devin had asked Sergey what he does professionally.
Yeah.
And he said he's a full-time arm wrestler. And he does master's courses for he's like a coach. I'm like, oh, this could be a problem. Like, this could be a real, like, and I knew Sergey was good. And it's like, but, it takes a lot to become a full-timer.
Well, I think you have to kind of, it's just like anything, you got to kind of piece it together between like winning tournaments and training and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a good moment for people to realize that these tournaments involve like the top of the top. Like we're not talking about, these aren't like, regional arm wrestling
You
events.
may not know who Sergey Kalinichenko is, but you're going to know who Sergey Kalinichenko is.
Exactly.
After he 3-0s Travis Bagent.
Right. And actually, that's an interesting point because it's like it's a niche sport. So like when people watch it or happen to see it or see some social media coverage of it, they may be under the misunderstanding that these guys are kind of like middling or whatever. Like no, like
you don't know if you don't know arm wrestling, you don't know what professional arm wrestling looks like, as opposed to average or amateur or middle of the road.
Right. So I think, it's any of these people. Yeah. We're talking about the top like 10% of people here. So even probably more than that.
Yeah. So Travis Bagent was at 60% with his right arm.
Yeah.
He lost 3-0 to Sergey. Let's see what Travis's arm is at. 100%. The guy's back in arm wrestling, and that's what we care about, and we're excited to see more.
Yep.
This next match.
Yeah. Dadakian versus Oleg Petrenko. Oleg is a machine.
So going in, like, they're just shooting air up Dadakian's culo because everything they were saying, I was like, I know Petrenko is good, but I was like, dude, Dadakian is like, he's looking ready for this match.
Well, he was supposed to pull Devin.
I know. And the first round made sense. He was like beating Petrenko at first, and then how the tides turned.
Oh, they turned. I mean, and then Petrenko was just like, let's finish this.
4-0, Oleg Petrenko.
I wasn't that surprised. If you go back and watch his last match it might be the last East vs. West.
Yeah.
He's just a machine.
That's what I'm saying. I was like going into the match, I'm like, yeah, Petrenko should win. But they kept blowing so much smoke up Dadikian. I was like, I don't even know. I'm a fucking idiot now. I don't even know what's going on.
I think like this is neither here nor there, but like, it makes me really question the matchup between Devin and Dadakian. That would not have been fun to watch.
No. Maybe it was just trying to, Dadakian's trying to capture it in a bottle because Devin's like right out of the match. He's like, yes.
Maybe,
vulnerability, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. Maybe timing-wise it would have been interesting, but I just don't. The way that Petrenko just laid him down, it was...
Yeah.
And I'm really excited. Not that he's been in it a while anyway, but I think Petrenko also has a solid career.
Yes, still super young in the sense I think he's in his 30s, maybe 20s. Honestly, I think everybody's in their 30s.
I don't think they age.
We're older than like everybody but Todd Hutchings. I don't understand. I hate it.
Hey, Michael Todd's definitely older than us.
All right, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, Travis
Mask
Bajan.
has gotta be older. He's got,
Bajan's
like-
older than nobody on this card. We're older than almost everybody on this card except like Vitaly, Todd Hutchins,
Yeah.
Travis Bajan.
Okay.
This
David
the co-main event
Samushia versus Sasha Andreev, possibly the best arm wrestling match I've watched
ever
in
seen. Honestly,
maybe forever.
If we're talking
Since
a match
Wall.
with
Since
no
Wall.
talking back and forth, no shit talking,
Dude.
no.
Just
So before the match, I thought watching everything that Sasha Andreev has done, I assumed Sasha was gonna win. He's built like a freaking a block engine. He's so thick.
he's a big dude.
His arms are massive, and he put it down on
Well, and
every single person.
yeah,
he's beaten dominantly.
His career. What am I trying to say? His stats are
his
speak for
statistics,
themselves.
his
I mean,
record.
yeah. I mean, and he's an incredible athlete. I honestly think that if people don't know anything about arm
Sasha
wrestling,
beat Irakli in his last match.
Yeah, I know.
So that's why I was like, oh, and it was pretty dominant. I think he 3-0'd or it was a best of 5 because it was for the world title. So yeah, best of 7 him, I think, in 4. And he faced John Berzink before that at East vs. West 10, beat John.
Yep.
Yeah, and then beat Tainov right before that. He beat our boy Paul Lynn.
Yeah. And Paul's got God on his
right.
side, so
He's got the Holy Trinity.
I mean,
So on paper, I thought I hadn't seen a lot of David's matches,
yeah,
but at that when they're talking about he's had already 8 title defenses at East vs. West.
yeah. Well, and Sasha beat David like 8 years ago, or whatever.
Did he?
So,
that's right.
Yeah, like 2 things. One, if people have never watched arm wrestling and you somehow have made it this far into the podcast, go watch this match because
It's not on YouTube yet, but I'll let you know when it is.
So, like, I mean, it is pure, unadulterated, perfect arm wrestling. I'm not saying it's technically perfect arm wrestling.
No.
What I'm saying is it is on the edge of your seat. Like when you play video games and you move the controller around, like it's like you're like in it with them.
If you want tension in an arm wrestling match,
Oh, dude.
and I'm not talking just physiological tension. I'm talking
Psychological tension, man.
Yeah, dude.
You're in it with them.
it's
Match of the night by far. And so David got beat by Sasha like 8 years
that's
ago
right.
or something.
They said 8 years ago,
And then he's basically said that he's been like
chomping at the bit for the
insert
match.
training montage of 8 years of like whatever to beat him,
He
and he
is Drago.
finally did. It was like, yes,
He
I
was
must break
Sasha
you.
was David's Drago.
And I mean, like, he came back and did it, and I can't imagine.
Did he lose the first? I wish we had round by round because did Sasha win the first 2? Or it was like back and forth, I think.
I think it went back and forth.
I think it was like Sasha won the first round, David won the second round, Sasha won the next, and then David just...
Oh, but it was a fight
They were
every
not,
time.
none
dude.
of these rounds were one-sided.
No,
I
it
mean, they
was-
were just fighting the
a legit
entire time.
fight. This is the second time where the co-main has been far better than the main event.
Far better.
But it was a great match, and then he finally won, and then he dedicated it to his dad or whatever, because his dad was like, wait, didn't you lose to this guy like 8 years ago? And he's like, yeah, but
David's
it's not going to happen again.
9th title defense. 9th title defense. Most people on this card have not even remotely been close to 9 appearances on East vs. West.
The Rockley might be there.
Maybe a Rockley and some of these Sasha guys. But, I mean, a lot of the guys you see during East vs. West, it's like they don't have 9 appearances.
Yeah, I mean, and
Let alone having the title at the same time.
this is just the most solid. I left this match going, yeah, the fact that this is a world title makes complete sense to me. Like this is
You knew these guys were 1 and 2
this
by the way
makes
they were
sense.
pulling.
Yeah.
Incredible match.
And then, like, I'm not saying that last match, Artem versus Vitaly, wasn't fun. I mean, Vitaly just wiped the floor with him.
Yeah, going into the match, I was the most hyped I was for any of the matches.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to see that match, but before they happened, that's what I wanted to see.
Yeah, I just think Vitaly, I mean, he is a force. And
He's good for the fact that we need that guy
he's huge.
for Levon.
Yeah.
Like, we need to, because if we wait for Brian Shaw, Levon could be Chaplenkov age, and then it's too late. And then it's not going to work the
Right.
same.
Yeah.
So, Vitaly is once again, I think we're older than Vitaly, which is disgusting.
Are we?
Yes.
Okay.
And apparently he used to be an ice road trucker. He used to.
That makes sense.
From like Moscow.
But did he probably didn't use an actual truck.
I
He
think
just
pulled the
carried it.
truck.
He just
yeah.
pulled it too.
Yeah, dude. Across the
He won
Siberian tundra.
Yeah, we talked about that with Eric Hussein. He now has the
dynamometer.
The dynamometer record.
He like breaks it every time he sees a new record.
Yeah. Which I mean, like, I'm on.
You're not sold. Eric didn't sell you that grip strength doesn't matter.
No, I'm saying what I'm saying is I'm not sure I'm jumping on the like Brian Shaw train. I love Brian Shaw with the deepest and
I'm jumping on the
like,
Vitaly train
with all ventricles and atria of my heart.
Me too.
But I don't know. I don't think he's gonna. I think just what Eric Hussein said. He can't just walk in and arm wrestling is so. We've seen it time and time again with dudes that don't look that big, but then walk in and wipe the floor with them. Yeah, he's big. But Levon has been training to arm wrestle forever.
Yeah.
I mean, not forever, but like for the majority of his career, where I'm amazed all the time that Brian is the well-rounded athlete that he is.
I know, with
and
no
I just
injuries, his age, everything. He should have went into power slap.
No. Maybe we can see him in hobby horsing someday.
Oh my god, if we only.
But yeah, so I mean, Vitaly is a machine. I think I'd love to see Vitaly. I want to see more matches that stop Levon.
Yeah,
I want him to like take a moment and be like, wait a minute. Kind of what Hermes did to him.
I know. And I love, and that's the thing, like before this match, like I loved watching Vitaly pull because he's such a dominant force on the table, which is super annoying when you become super dominant and you're like, but why are you 3-0ing though? I want to see you do stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see you just pulling stuff and pull guys.
Yeah. I do think, you know how they have like, because one of the women's matches, they had to raise the platform.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wondering if for Vitaly, though, they should like dig a pit.
Yeah.
And he has to step down into the pit.
Yes.
Because he walks up to that table and it looks like a kid. Like, it looks like me walking up to like my kid's.
He has to like
little kid
get
table.
a cube.
Like he like leans over.
I know.
Like I wonder if it's like an anatomical deficit that he has to like lean down.
Well, I always think, you know, like when their hands like stands too high and they're facing like a short-armed dude, you're like,
yeah,
this seems so unfair.
I mean, he's just a walking elbow foul. Like, how do you not just stand?
Exactly.
But yeah,
that's why that one with the pit like elbow pad is an interesting idea. That league that Eric was talking about.
We should look into that more.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so I mean, I thought the whole
it was an incredible event. I thought
the whole event went well. It was fun to watch. The co-main did not disappoint.
Did not disappoint. We will we'll let you guys know for certainly when some of these matches start hitting YouTube. It just happened, so I think it'll probably start next week. Maybe some
I
of
think
the
it's
prelims.
pretty good
but
about putting that stuff out.
They did a prelim qualifier beforehand, but they don't commentate it, so you have no idea what's actually happening. You just see the actual pulling.
I did see some people's socials though talking about some people that were in that I think have some potential.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens.
All right, we're gonna switch modes to strongman. Strengthman. We're just gonna do a little intro, looking forward. So the Strongman Classic is coming up.
I keep forgetting that this is coming up so soon.
I know.
We've been without a big event since literally.
Well,
Worlds.
we had England's and Britain's strongest woman and England's strongest man. Though it wasn't. It usually it's unfortunate because the shows that come relatively fast after Worlds, most of the time your top 3 athletes are not going to be in it.
They're passable events in the sense that the athlete doesn't care necessarily if they're broken down from Worlds to miss it.
Yeah, and that it's really hard to come off of Worlds and then be competitive that soon. And I mean, a lot of these are limited by geographic area. So if you're not in those places, you're not.
If you're an American, you're not flying back over for Britain's.
Well, and if you're not English, you can't compete.
Oh, you can't even compete. That's right for these ones. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. But the Strongman Classic is open to anybody. Obviously, there's qualifiers. You have to be not qualifiers, but you have to be invited to the event. We have 13 athletes. We know all of them. We've seen them in other things. There are 5 events. It's not like Worlds where there's qualifiers and then finals. It's just all 13 athletes compete in these 5.
I do like that.
Events, and then whoever has the most points wins. So really quick, the 5 events that are going to happen are max axle press, which we saw at Worlds. So that's an axle bar, which is a thick bar with weight on it. It has to go from the ground, then usually athletes get it to their torso or to the belt line or above, or to the chest, and then a press from the chest up. So it's a full press. Axle deadlift. So it's a deadlift for reps. And it's just the axle bar is just a thicker bar.
Just the same bar from the press.
And then we're going to see Conan's wheel. So Conan's wheel, there's a sort of a bar that has is pinned into the middle, and then you have to pick the bar up and walk around in a circle.
It's the clock event. The clock event.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And then, so just like England's and Britain's, they're having the wrecking ball hold. We haven't seen static holds a lot for a long time.
I know, but I love these events.
And so the wrecking ball hold there's a tower. It's probably like, I don't know, 15, 20 feet tall. And there's a giant wrecking ball under it.
Did we do it at Worlds?
It's changed. No, not this year.
Not this year.
And it's chained to a handle, and the athlete on the top essentially deadlifts the wrecking ball and then holds it as long as they possibly can. And it's an interesting event. We don't see a ton of static holds, which means I think it's going to be a real, like, I don't know what's going to happen.
I love those because they're like classic strongman events.
Yeah. They harken back to a time where we just kind of threw stuff together.
Yeah, think if your family of 7 is hanging off a cliff and
right,
you have to hold all
up.
7 of them.
Right.
This is a life or death event.
Yeah. And it was fun to watch in England's and Britain's Strongest Woman, and some athletes did really well. The guy that won it at England's built his own version of it at his farm, which was pretty wild.
That's why he's winning.
Practice. And then the last event are the Atlas Stones. They're really Atlas Stones, however, they were donated or they're sponsored by something, so they call them Castle Stones.
Oh, that's why
at Giants Live. But it's just Atlas Stones. So they increase in weight, but the vertical lift gets shorter as it goes. So I think it will be the final event in all these shows for a long time.
Is.
The athletes, in no specific order, Mitchell Hooper took second at Worlds, Evan Singleton third at Worlds, Tom Stoltman first at Worlds, Alexei Novikov. We're going to see Alexei come back, which is fantastic.
We love Alexei.
Just continue to come back. So Alexei had an injury, is out for quite some time. He's coming back. To me, he's kind of a wild card right now because I don't know where he's at.
Worlds wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, and he wasn't there. So.
Oh wait, when did he injure himself? What am I thinking of?
This was a while ago.
Wait, Kordiaka did Kordiaka injure himself at Worlds? No, never mind. I'm thinking of somebody else. But Alexei's back, which is good, and he always performs. So I guess we'll just
he does.
He'll really show where he's at, like you said.
I think we can talk rating or like prediction at the end.
Yeah,
but
we'll go back
I think
up.
it completely depends on where he's at, because I think he could be a podium finish. But I've said that about people in the past coming back from injuries, and they don't always live up to my expectations, which sounds bad. Like Luke Richardson at England's. I put him in my podium, and then mad props to you, Luke, but I apparently rated a little higher. So Kane Francis coming off England's, he should do great. Matt Bragg, again, hell of an athlete.
I'm excited to see Kane Francis with all these guys.
I think, yeah.
Was he out? He wasn't at Worlds, or was he at Worlds?
Yeah.
Okay, he was. Oh, that's right. Yeah, wait.
And the axle deadlifts there. I think Matt Bragg's going to have. Well, we'll go back through that.
Yeah.
Pavlo Kordiaka, he was at Worlds. Iron Bibi is here.
Which is cool to see. You don't see Iron Bibi at a lot of events, so it's very exciting to see Iron Bibi at any event.
Yep. Gavin Bilton, the bull.
Yes.
Eddie Williams, the musician. Pau Dwyer, the comedian. If you don't follow Pau Dwyer's Instagram, you are not living, and you need to go follow Pau Dwyer's Instagram. It is the funniest thing. Whenever I have a bad day, I just go back and watch those.
He's a good time.
Tristan Hoth, another Canadian, also Summit Worlds. He's coming back, and then Andrew Flynn. Andrew Flynn's kind of a wild card here. I mean, he's got some reps in bigger shows.
What was his last show?
Well, I think he was in England. I mean,
I remember you saying his name for one of the
Yeah.
I feel European events.
So I think I don't have a lot of like data on him. We don't have a lot of data on him just because we're not. I mean, he just hasn't been in the bigger shows. But I think he's.
I love to see the newer guys in these big stacked events like this.
Yeah. I don't know if.
Because I mean, if you want to make waves,
Yeah.
this is the time to make the waves.
Well, and you have events like Wrecking Ball Hold. So the thing about the Wrecking Ball Hold is it can really elevate athletes that are newer to the world, because technically it's not a technical lift.
Yeah.
You literally have to hold the thing.
I know.
And a lot of these guys have this, like, I don't know, you got to be a bit crazy to win these things.
Yeah.
And Wrecking Ball Hold to me is kind of like Denny Stones or the Nickel Stones, where it's, there's some skill involved, but it's also just like surviving the pain.
Yeah, mental than anything.
Which is why, well, we can go in order. Max Axel, I think there's no way Iron BB doesn't win this.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the world record, but he
does have the
Oh,
world
does he
record.
have the world record? Okay.
And it's 217.
That makes sense.
217 kg.
So I mean, and that's the 7 kg over anybody in this event.
And I don't doubt he breaks that.
He should. I mean, probably why he's showing up.
I mean, and I think he's got to do it in competition. So I mean, I think he's going to do the max axle press and then go home. I don't know, like if
Why
he's
not?
gonna,
Maybe he'll do the other axle deadlift as well, just because.
Yeah, maybe.
Iron
I don't
Baby
know.
loves a good axle.
I think Hercules Hold, I think he could do pretty well in.
I guess honestly, Iron Baby is the most excited I am about any of these athletes. We see these athletes a lot. You just don't get to see, like, you see Iron Baby, he'll show up for like an Arnold's, or like he'll show up for like these huge like events that are like televised and stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, I think he just loves the axle press. And then, I mean,
who doesn't?
Yeah. So I think he's going to win it, and then I think Mitchell Hooper and Tom Stoltman will fight for second and third, which will look a lot like Worlds, just Iron BB in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think a lot of these events, besides Conan's Wheel, I think it's going to look like Worlds. It's going to Tom and Mitch fighting for a lot of these events.
My only thing is I don't event. Well, we'll go to the next one. So axle deadlift. I think Mitchell will win this. I think Mitchell Hooper will win this. I think Tom Stoltman will be on there, and I think Matt Ragg will. Yeah, agreed. I think he will take top 3 on this. He's just a machine when it comes to deadlifting, and Evan's got a pretty good deadlift too. I just think that, like, Matt's got more to prove. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I always like these guys who are just dominant in one event, because that arguably throws the event out for the guy who's theoretically supposed to be taking the title. Same thing with Kordiaka and
Conan's Wheel.
Yeah, and Novikov. Like, they're guaranteed 1-2 in Conan's. So it's like, okay, and maybe not Novikov, depending on how healthy he is. But
that's the thing.
But no, I mean, Kordiaka is guaranteed first. He gets it every single time. Pretty handedly.
I don't see him losing that.
He has the world record.
I think I do. Like you just said, I think it totally depends on where Novikov is in his recovery. Because if he's there, definitely, I think, like you said, an easy second spot. Yeah. If he's not, that leaves it open for Mitchell Hooper. That leaves it open for Tom.
And those openings are huge. Yeah. When you only have 5 events.
Right.
I mean, the openings, stuff like that. I mean, that's how Tom snuck in Worlds. And granted, Worlds, you have the amount of events you have at Worlds is as many as you could possibly get. So you have the ability to fight back, like he did when somebody messes up on an event or something happens. Yeah. So this is just like...
Well, and the way it's scored, it matters a lot if you finish in the top third, middle third, or bottom third. So suddenly, like you said, something to like Iron BB with the max axle press. Are you going to win it? No, but it matters where you place.
Yeah. And in this event, I mean, in the event as a whole, it's like every single event is going to matter huge for all these athletes.
Yeah.
So
Conan's Wheel. I think, honestly, we could see, I think Pavel is going to win it. Alexei, and then Mitchell. Though I think Evan could do well too. Mm-hmm. Tom's got good numbers, and I think he could too. But again, Matt Ragg, I think has a great chance of doing really well. I think
what's
Matt
Ragg's Conan 748.
I mean, I think he. Matt's one of those guys who I think could place really well on a lot of these events and then come out and win one, and suddenly he's on the podium. Because I think it could definitely happen.
I think, and Tom PR'd at Worlds in the Conan's wheel, and by like a lot, because it's like Conan's is usually one of his weaker events. He's a massive guy. I don't think any of his like body does not help for Conan's wheel. He's just a massive person. You have to lift it up higher.
But he knew it was a deficit, so he just trained the living
crap
daylights out of it.
And it's, 777, he's arguably, he's 50 feet away from the PR of Mitchell.
Pablo's is even longer than that.
You can't get to Pablo. Nobody's touching Pablo. Okay,
Yeah,
he's 100 yards away from anybody else.
Yeah.
Is that what they are? They're yards? Is that what this is? What is
it's
this?
degrees. So
it is degrees. That's right. Yeah.
The turning.
That would be insane. Could you imagine?
I'm going to skip over Wrecking Ball Hold because I think we should finish on that. But Atlas, Stones, Tom's got it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's beatable at this point with Stone anything.
Yeah, no.
But again,
These are the events. It's like...
I think Alexi could come in second, third, or seventh. I don't know. I mean, like, it depends on where he's at. I think if he comes to play, he's in second, maybe third, and then I think Mitchell will come in and finish that. I think Evan Singleton has a chance. I think Evan is also in a similar situation as Matt, where I think if he has some really good finishes, and then he's able to, like, win something... and the way the cards play out, I think he's got a chance.
I don't know if that was Evan's PR or his best performance at Worlds in the Atlas Stones, but I think I'm sure he'll PR this event. I would assume a lot of these guys, if they haven't performed since Worlds, and they're training like I would assume they're training. Yeah. I would. This is the event where you get some of those PRs that really matter, especially for an event like Wrecking Ball Hold that nobody's really working that much as it is. Everybody has stone records.
Yeah. And we have not seen a static hold since, like, I don't know, like
there's a deadlift hold.
Yeah, that
last
was Tristan
year
Hoth did
in some obscure event, or
it was like I can't remember what event. I mean, it was a bigger show, but we haven't seen a lot of this. So the only thing we have really to like compare it to are things like Farmers Walks or Webster Stones or Nickel Stones. Yeah. I'm going to throw this out there. I think Eddie Williams might win this event. Webster Stones he destroyed the Webster Stones at Worlds.
Oh yeah, you're right, he did.
And you have to have
grip strength.
The grip. He moved pretty quick, so I mean, like, time wise, whatever. But I think he's got a good chance of winning.
In theory, you should be able to hold it longer if you're not walking. So I would assume that. I mean, and he did 46 meters.
I mean, he was an animal, and I think he's just like I think he'll do well. I think Evan will do well in this event because Evan, like, a lot of athletes say, I came here to win, but like Evan legitimately, like,
nobody says it more than Evan.
I think he legitimately, after Worlds, he just had a lot of great. I think he accepted his place, and he realizes that, and he doesn't fault anybody but himself.
Yeah.
And so I think he also just pushes himself, and I think he's also you got to be a little crazy to participate in this sport.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to pain, I think Evan's got like an upper hand on I'm willing to just grit my teeth and
I mean, coming from the world of professional wrestling, his pain tolerance is through the roof. Yeah. I mean,
and I think he's just a little,
he's not.
And then the standard.
He's not so in the best way you can possibly be.
Yeah, and I think so. Mitchell and Tom after that. I mean, I think they're going to be in the top of most things.
But I think this is going to be really interesting. It's certainly going to be all about those second, third, fourth placings because there's 5 events. Arguably 3 or 4 of those events are like handedly being won by an individual. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, where are you elsewhere?
Yeah.
We can guarantee Conan's. We can pretty much guarantee Max Axel. We can guarantee Atlas Stones. And yeah, I mean, Axel deadlift and Wrecking Ball Hold are really gonna matter when it comes to the final standings of this whole thing.
Yeah, and they're kind of just wild cards. I mean, well, Stone's not, but Wrecking Ball Hold is kind of a wild card. I'm excited to just see, like, who knows what's going to happen when it comes to that. Like, somebody might just blow everybody else of the water and grit their teeth and make it happen.
So
they did this they did the Wrecking Ball Hold, or a thing similar to it in that show for the History Channel that
They did. They made a huge thing.
Because I remember Nick did it, but he like wasn't.
Remember he was going to put on too much weight and he like almost blew his back out again or something like that.
Yeah,
and they're like,
we don't
Nick,
need that,
get
Nick.
down. We're like, Jesus.
We don't need that,
what are we doing here? All right, Ben. So tell the people when this event is and where can they, potentially broadcast it.
Yep. So this is happening on Saturday, July 13th. This is a Giants live event. So if you go to, I think it's just the official Strongman, not official Strongman Games. If you Google Giants Live, it will take you to the website.
Yeah, it will
to
always
watch
take
it,
you.
to stream it, you have to be a member of it. It's not all that expensive. If
You guys can use Ben's account.
No, if Engen made some post about like if you pay for the pay-per-view and have people watch it, that's not okay. Props, dude. Yeah.
Giants Live is literally Giants, not Giants, Giants-live.com.
Yeah, and so you have to be like a member to stream it, but the streams are always solid. It's in a really cool old hall. It's always well attended. The tickets are already sold out. They have been forever. It's a great event. And we're seeing some of literally the top athletes in the world. So this is a stacked list of athletes. Yes, I think that in my prediction is that we see. I think Mitchell's going to take it. I think the way these events, I think play to his strengths really well. I think I'm for second and third. I'm just going to sort of say there's a 3-way tie between Tom, Alexi, and Evan.
Wow, this guy's a pushover.
Yeah,
what
I know. If I
what an NPC answer.
All right, so like if I had to, I would say I think Tom's coming in second, and I think Alexi's coming in third.
Okay,
Evan, I
like that.
Evan,
I like the prediction.
T-Rex, I love you, man. But for whatever reason, these events. Not for whatever reason. I think these events play to those other guys a little bit better. And that's a part of Strongman. Like the events change and sometimes it's going to play to your good thing.
Yeah, I agree with all of the predictions. I think Mitchell Hooper's level of calculation is just it's just a level above. I think everybody else's. I think his syllabus he gives himself, for these things is just like, I don't know what it is, but he's just so much more mentally prepared. If everything goes as planned, he should do everything he should do. And Tom is just, I mean, he's touching Mitchell's heels like at every single one of these events. I think once again there was something happened at Worlds. And Tom took a huge advantage, but he won by a pretty good margin. It wasn't like a crazy thing. Like it wasn't like.
Well, there were a lot of factors at Worlds.
Of course.
I mean, Mitchell messing up his hands was a big
deal. Well, that's what I'm
saying.
saying. Yeah, I mean, that was the whole deal. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't care how much calculation you have. You're not ready for that. Nobody's prepared for that. Right. So it's like Mitchell on paper, he jots all his I's and dots all of his T's. You know what I'm saying?
That's
what they say.
Phrase. That's the phrase.
He puts all of his shoes in his bag, and I think that's the right thing to do. I think he's gonna take it. Tom's gonna come in second, and Evan Singleton, the way he's been performing, I'm excited to see Kane Francis, guys like that, guys like Andrew Flynn, guys like Tristan Hoth. I just want to see where they're gonna bring their performance. I hope it's a PR, but this is gonna be an incredible event. I like to consider World's Strongest Man the end of the Strongman season. So like I almost consider this like the first event of the first big event of the season, and I think it's really gonna be an incredible event. Giants Live.
Yeah, check it out. We will of course talk about what happens after it. Maybe not next week's episode, but we'll talk about how this pans out and who wins what, and we'll see if we're right. I mean, I would love to see somebody like Matt Ragg or Kane Francis or Eddie Williams, because I slept on him, World's Strongest Man. Like, I'd love to see these guys get up there, and they will.
They will.
All right, well, we will check back in. Remember our socials. We're on Instagram, The Strong Casuals, Facebook, The Strong Casuals, and we are putting all these on YouTube. So if you're listening to us on wherever you find your podcast, you can also watch podcasts of it. You can watch our beautiful faces with our 17 lights, talk about arm wrestling and strongman. So without further ado, remember, if you're
gripping, we
love you.
Rip it, grip it, schlack it, smack it.